think that this is a soft coup. What we are seeing is a slow coup. And the different pieces of it are not. I've learned that, how do you get someone to eat an elephant? One bite at a time. I'm just giving one bite now that this election is fraudulent, but actually what we're experiencing, I think, is a slow coup. If this isn't done, I mean, look what's happened in this country in the last 6 months, setting aside, I guess including COVID, all kinds of constitutional norms have been shredded really in the last couple of years. Respect for free speech, respect for the rights of the accused, respect for religious liberty. And it's just being shredded in front of our eyes, and the shredding has become normalized.
And you know what's so amazing? In the past, this would take decades to have a little thing happen. Now it's like we're on fast forward.
Well, it's like Rahm Emanuel said, don't let a good crisis go to waste. They are not letting the crisis of COVID go to waste.
Okay, Patrick, you said something else that was amazing to me that your experts found out. They found out if they could get 5 counties, so to speak, or regions in the United States, they could control 5 states. If they could control 5 states, they could control the election. What were those 5 states?
Let me make it 6, and it's right. Actually think of it as 5 counties. The counties containing Atlanta, Georgia, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Detroit, Michigan, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Maricopa, Arizona, which is basically Greater Phoenix, and then Greater Las Vegas, which is called Clark County, Nevada. If you don't have to steal and cheat across the country, but you have to steal like crazy in those 6 places. And if you flip them, you flip those 6 states: Nevada, Arizona, Wisconsin, Philly, Michigan, and Atlanta, Georgia. And that far and away steals the Electoral College. And that's what they did. And those happen to be the places, if you've been following the news and you hear on election night, remember there were whole voting operations shut down for 3 hours because of a water main break in the middle of the night, things like this. Those happen to be the places where those oddities, those irregular, and no, I've never heard of that in my lifetime. In the middle of election night, you're shutting down a voting place and kicking everyone out with all the... And those are the places that they had to steal are the ones where those water mains broke. And what do you know? When people were kicked out for 3 hours, suddenly machines were processing 3 or 4 times as many ballots as they could process. And you had these enormous spikes. And what do you know? 99.4% of 600,000 votes come in and get counted. And what do you know? 99.4 are for Joe Biden. So it's things like that.
Well, it seems to me, and I'm just, a plain person, but all we have to do is have a brand new election in those 6 regions, not the whole United States, and we can have the truth come out. Is that a possibility that would work?
Well, there's different, there's recounts and there's revotes. What you're describing is a revote.
Yes.
A judge will order a recount when they have identified fraud or errors and they can strip those out. But if the thing gets so scrambled, it's like an egg you can't unscramble, a scrambled egg. If it gets so scrambled you can't unscramble, they order a revote. There's no provision in the Constitution for a revote, and there is a provision that if by January 6th this is not all sorted out, then this alternative process kicks in. So I don't think they can actually do a revote.
Could the Supreme Court demand it, so to speak?
They would be violating the Constitution.
Okay.
I think in my perfect world, it would be in those 6 states, you'd have a revote and you'd watch everything very carefully. You can't, I don't think that they can do that and get it done before January 6th. So that means the House is going to meet on January 6th. And there's a couple different things that can happen. I don't see there's any way. If they let these votes stand as they are, there will never be election law in the United States if they turn a blind eye to this. So
wait a second. If we go on what I hear you saying, the easier one is the recount rather than the revote.
Yeah, but
would Trump win on a recount?
Well, the recounts, you could recount.
Just in those 6 regions now.
Yes, take Nevada. They're claiming today they found, I think, 40,000 dead people voted or people voted twice, something like that in Nevada. If you can strip that out and a few select things, 17,000 dead people and things like that, that may change it. So that's the recount. I don't know if that's enough to really change the whole thing. I don't think they can get that done because a bunch of the places a recount doesn't matter because the ballots have been tampered with, the ballots have no provenance, the ballots have been run through Dominion readers. And here's something people don't understand: the Dominion readers, so-called readers, actually have little printers in them, and they can print votes.
Excuse me, for non-computer people, what is a reader?
A reader is the machine that you feed the ballots into. After people have voted, you feed the ballot in, and the machine reads who you voted for. Well, it turns out that those not only read, but they can actually print. And they have a library inside the machine, which they advertise in their literature to election officials. That library of prints doesn't have to print perfectly. You can make, which you could tell it was a machine. It can print like a human did it. So there's little scratches and things that aren't perfect. So the machines have the ability to make ballots look like they were filled out by a human when they weren't, that starts getting a little odd to have that functionality, that they would have a library of human-like checks.